Starts right now.
Good morning. It's Monday, the 4th.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you had a nice weekend. I mean, the weather was beautiful on Saturday, but then the humidity found us again.
It sure did. It's been hovering right around the upper 60s to 70. And right now we're seeing a few breaks in the clouds. And Justin, if I recall, there was a chance of some storms today. What is our storm risk going into this afternoon?
I got to tell you, it's not great. I mean, it is there, but we have such a cap on the atmosphere right now that I'm skeptical that we're going to see a lot today. That's not to say we couldn't see a storm pop up. I just don't think we're going to see a lot on radar. And most of us, we're going to stay dry. You see the sun's already starting to pop out, so it's going to be warm too. There's a severe weather risk. So the area highlighted in yellow on a scale of 1 to 5, this is a 1. So it's a low end severe weather risk. But it does include basically northeastern parts of our viewing area, San Antonio up to Austin, Bryan College Station over to Houston. That's the area we'll be watching late this afternoon and this evening. But like I said, I think the chances of seeing a storm are really pretty low. We have it at 20%. I think that's generally just for the northeastern parts of our viewing area. So the forecast today, 74 to 11 o'clock noontime, 76, mostly cloudy, and then we'll be up around 80 this afternoon. Warm and humid, and there's that 20% chance of rain that will add in around the evening hours. If something does pop up, of course, we'll let you know as soon as it does. Pollen count is in. Everything's low here, but I think the takeaway from this is that oak is starting to climb the ladder here. You look at the oak trees, it's about that time. So oak season is upon us, and look for that number to continue to go up. Weather headlines. So after today, it's going to get really hot tomorrow. We're expecting temperatures near 90. It's going to be very spring-like this week. And then some better odds at some storms coming Thursday night. So that's a time frame we'll be watching Thursday night into Friday morning. And those fires in the Panhandle still burning. We're going to give you an update on those coming up here in just a couple minutes. Let's go over to RJ now. It was a busy morning on the roads. Not sure why, but a lot going on.
Yeah, very busy this morning, Justin. Even starting overnight, there was an 18-wheeler that dropped a bunch of steel pipes on 10 at 37 in Presa, but fortunately we cleared that one out hours ago. And as you see behind me, traffic is moving pretty good across most of the city of San Antonio. A couple of things that we'll kind of go to right now, as long as we take one more look here at some of our TransGuide cameras. Loop 1604 Bandera, traffic moving pretty good both directions there. Same situation here, 1604 at Medio Creek. So let's talk about some things going on right now that we're seeing on our traffic maps. We have a stalled vehicle being reported Loop 410 eastbound. This is going to be at Airport Boulevard. So if you are about to head out to the airport or in this area, just kind of keep this one in mind. Still have a stalled vehicle out there. Now earlier there was also a stalled vehicle being reported on 410 westbound in McCullough, but we have cleared that accident out from just a little while ago. So we have just that stalled right now eastbound there at Airport. On the far northeast side, we're looking at a stalled vehicle that's causing a pretty good backup here southbound 35 at Retama, and it's causing a backup all the way to FM 3009 past Selma, kind of headed towards the Shirt-Cibolo area. So if you're coming right now down from 35 south, going to run into a little bit of traffic in this area on the far northeast side. Everything else looks pretty good. As we mentioned, there was a pretty big crash earlier on the northeast side at 35 at O'Connor. That has been cleared out, and we had a lot of activity earlier this morning on 90 in both directions, east and westbound, over by 36 and General McMullen, but that fortunately has cleared out as well. So biggest thing we're seeing right now, airports area, 410 and Airport Boulevard, and also the northeast side, that stalled vehicle 35 at Retama. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
Thank you, RJ. Well, this morning, San Antonio police are calling it a hit and run, the death of a woman alongside a local highway.
They are still trying to track down the driver who hit her. It happened on the access road of Loop 410 west of Culebra Road. Trina Weber is there and tells us it is slow going with the investigation right now. Actually, we're going to go to ABC for a special report.
Now reporting, David Muir.
Good morning. We're coming on the air because the Supreme Court has just handed down an historic ruling concerning Colorado's attempt to bar Donald Trump from the presidential ballot in that state. The decision coming just one day before Super Tuesday, when voters headed the polls in 15 states, of course, including Colorado. Just moments ago, in the case of Trump versus Anderson, the justices ruling in Donald Trump's favor, saying Colorado has no right to keep his name off the ballot this November. The state had argued he should be disqualified under the 14th Amendment's insurrection ban because of his actions leading up to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. But the Supreme Court just moments ago saying Donald Trump will remain on the ballot. Let's go to Terry Moran live at the Supreme Court. Terry, what have you been able to read so far?
Well, David, a rare moment of unanimity on a usually divided court. All 9 justices of the Supreme Court agree that states cannot kick candidates off the ballot under the 14th Amendment. That clause which you mentioned, which passed after the Civil War, held that people who had sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution and then engaged in insurrection are banned from holding federal office further. And what the Supreme Court said is that states can't enforce that it requires Congress to pass a law to outline how that clause should be enforced, concluding very simply that responsibility for enforcing that part of the Constitution rests with Congress and not with the states. The Supreme Court expressing real concern that states could go different ways. Some states would perhaps ban one candidate, some states perhaps ban another candidate. Other states keep them both on the ballot, and they express concern about the disruption that would work. They also said that the text of that constitutional article is clear and that it requires Congress to pass, quote, appropriate legislation in order to outline the enforcement procedure for someone who had done, as people have alleged, sworn an oath to the Constitution, then engaged in insurrection and run for office again. Nothing will happen. Trump will stay on the ballot in all 50 states.
And we should point out, Terry, that he is on the ballot. His name is printed for Super Tuesday tomorrow in Colorado, so voting will continue as planned.
That's right, because the Colorado Supreme Court, which originally held the opposite, that under the Constitution, Donald Trump would be banned from running for office, from appearing on the Colorado ballot, they said the Secretary of State should go ahead and prepare for both possibilities, pending Supreme Court opinion. Here we are the day before the Colorado primary. Supreme Court once again speaking with a unanimous voice here. Can't express how rare that is in a contested case. All the liberals joining with the conservatives in holding that Congress has the authority to keep people off the ballot under the 14th Amendment, not the states one by one.
Up to Congress, as you point out. Terry Moran leading off our special report here. Terry, thank you. Wondering, Kate Shaw, our legal analyst. And Kate, as we heard Terry point out there, unanimous in this decision, the justices on the court, and sending a very strong message that when it comes to a significant national issue of this sort, it should be Congress and not the states that decide here.
Well, David, the justices did all agree with that proposition. And interestingly, this opinion is a per curiam opinion, meaning there's no specific identified author. It's sort of a depersonalized opinion of the court. But I should mention there are a couple of concurring opinions. Justice Barrett writes separately to concur, and there's a joint separate concurrence by Justices Sotomayor and Kagan and Jackson, the 3 Democratic appointees, all suggesting that the court actually went further than needed in this case, essentially saying the only way to enforce this provision of the 14th Amendment is by Congress. But just as Terry said, the bottom line is unanimous that Colorado has to keep President Trump on the ballot, and so does every other state. So I think we're done with seeing state litigation around this question.
It was interesting, Kate, because we had a bit of a preview that this was coming, including the liberals on the court when they heard arguments in this. Elena Kagan had said, I think the question that you have to confront is why a single state should decide who gets to be president of the United States. This was at one point to a lawyer arguing against Trump's position. She went on to say, in other words, this question of whether a former president is disqualified for insurrection to be president again, just say it, she said. It sounds awfully national to me. Strong suspicion that she would go this way along with the other liberal justices.
That's right, David. It was interesting that at oral argument, you did not see the ordinary ideological divides on display. Everyone on the court seemed quite concerned about what it would mean for a nationwide election in which we are choosing a national leader for everyone, for individual states to have so much control over something as important as whether a presidential candidate appears on the ballot. That's an argument about consequences. That's not really grappling with the history of this provision of the amendment or the intention of those who added it to the Constitution. That's really about consequences. But you saw that front of mind in the oral argument, and I think you see it on display in this opinion.
And bottom line, Kate, what does this mean for other states who have found similar findings as Colorado? As you know, a number of states have gone in this direction.
That's right. You had Colorado, Maine, Illinois. I think this opinion puts those to rest. At this point, none of those separate state decisions, whether by courts or by Secretary of State, as in Maine, to keep Trump off the ballot can go into effect. So he will either be or remain on the ballot in every state. I don't think there's any way for a state to try to circumvent this ruling. At this point, any action has to be in the hands of Congress, and that's what the court said pretty clearly.
So it would appear this issue is off the table for good straight through the presidential election. Kate Shaw, our thanks to you as well. I want to bring in Devin Dwyer, who also reports on the court for ABC News. And Devin, you're reading through the decision, a bit of a warning also, though, from some of the liberal justices.
That's right. And Kate just touched on that here, that the liberals were saying the court didn't need to go as far as it did. But take a step back for a second, David, on just how historic this decision is. Never before has the Supreme Court considered this part of the Constitution, so historic in that way. But not in more than 20 years has the Supreme Court directly weighed in on a presidential election months before voters are going to the polls. Obviously going to the polls now in the primary, but the general election in November, this is a really big deal. And it's just the appetizer. The Supreme Court, in this opinion, which is unsigned, it's unanimous, they don't talk about Donald Trump's conduct. There's no specifics about what is alleged he is alleged to have done around the 2020 election. All of those questions are still to come next month, as you know, when the Supreme Court takes up another major case on his conduct.
Well, you bring that up, Devin, the fact that this was a bit of a setback for Jack Smith, the special counsel, in the federal elections case, the interference that involves January 6th. We learned that they will take up this issue of presidential immunity, obviously much different from what we're covering right here. But as you bring up, they will hear arguments. The earliest they could make a decision is May or June. And everyone at home in that case simply wants to know, is there a chance this goes to trial before the election? That window is very small.
A very small window for the Supreme Court to hear this case, this other case, give a decision, have a trial go forward before the presidential election in November. But David, again, the underlying conduct in this decision today that Donald Trump cannot be removed from the ballot for engaging in insurrection is about to go back before the court. In this other case, the special counsel looking to prosecute Donald Trump for that very same conduct. And so these justices, again, are going to be asked to decide whether that trial can go forward, whether a president is immune. And it's really going to push this trial right up against the election when voters are going to be headed to the polls.
And of course, the point you're making here is that while they don't address the behavior in today's decision, they're going to have to. Certainly in the weeks ahead, we'll continue to follow that. Rachel Scott covers the campaign trail for us. Rachel, reaction already in from the former president?
Yeah, the former president just responded just minutes ago. He's calling this a big win for America. I'm also told that former President Donald Trump is expected to address this decision in just a matter of hours down in Florida at Mar-a-Lago. The Trump campaign was not only hoping that this decision would come down in this way, they were confident that it would happen. They called the Colorado State Supreme Court ruling flawed. They said they had the utmost confidence that the justices would ultimately rule in their favor. And of course, this all comes now just one day before Super Tuesday. We know that 800,000 voters in Colorado have already mailed in their ballots, Donald Trump's name on that ballot ahead of tomorrow, and the justices making sure that those votes are counted, and it stays that way, David.
All right, Rachel Scott with reaction from the former president, John Carl, our chief Washington correspondent right here in New York with me. And John, ironically, this amendment was made to reduce the power, not increase the power of the states here. And certainly what they've avoided here is a patchwork of states where Donald Trump is on the ballot or not on the ballot. That's just simply not going to happen.
It's fascinating to read this opinion. They make both of those points. One, they talk about how the 14th Amendment, of course, coming after the Civil War, was designed to keep the Confederates from coming back into power, envisioning a situation where Confederates would take over the state legislatures of the former Confederate states and use that power to try to sway, to try to sway the federal government. So this talks about how no, this amendment was not designed to expand state power, it was designed to limit state power. So the idea that we would give the states, through the 14th Amendment, the power to choose who or who could not be on the ballot is simply doesn't make any sense. And they talked about the practical impact as well, saying you could see different states having different reasons for disqualifying candidates from the ballot and having a different threshold of proof. Some states may say if a candidate's been convicted of the crime of insurrection, they would be banned. Others saying just simply if the Secretary of State or election officials believed that to be the case. So they said you can't have that kind of a patchwork, and they use that word patchwork, different states having different reasons for banning somebody from the ballot. It would throw our entire system of electing a president up in the air.
John Carl, our thanks to you as well. I want to go back to Terry Moran at the Supreme Court because, Terry, as we were talking about with Devin there, the Supreme Court is going to have to take up this issue of immunity in the separate federal interference case that involves January 6th. But without going too much further into that case, they did give a very strong indication in today's decision that they believe ultimately who should be president really should be decided at the ballot box.
Yeah, that's a great point, David. The whole panoply of cases brought against Donald Trump in all kinds of courts, not just the Supreme Court, but courts across the country, all have basically one aim: to stop him from getting back into the White House. And what the court says in this case is that the Constitution is clear that this route is not available. And across the country, there's a sense among voters that there's something not kosher about that, if you will, that they are pushing back against this and saying that the only way to decide who gets into the White House shouldn't rest in the courts or with prosecutors or juries. It should rest with voters in the ballot box.
Terry Moran live at the court for us this morning. Terry, thank you. And again, the breaking news coverage here live on ABC. As you know, Colorado's highest court had decided that Donald Trump should be kept off the ballot in that state, given what that court believed was his behavior leading up to January 6th. The Supreme Court, speaking loudly on this just moments ago, disagreeing with Colorado's highest court, saying that that state should not be able to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. Super Tuesday tomorrow, voters in Colorado will go to the polls. They will be able to vote for Donald Trump. His name is already on the ballot, by the way, but now they have cleared the way, the Supreme Court has, for Donald Trump to be on the ballot, not only in Colorado, but in every state in this country as we inch closer to the presidential election. Our coverage continues on ABC News Live, abcnews.com. Of course, I'll be back much later today with this entire team for World News Tonight. I'm David Muir in New York. Have a great day.
Back here in San Antonio, 9:14, 70 degrees.
We'll be right back.
All right, getting back on track after that ABC News special report. In your morning headlines, the head of Homeland Security not happy with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, blames him for a lot of the immigration crisis. And Nikki Haley makes history with a primary win just last night.
And there is a new college scoring champ, and she's not done yet. David Sears is here with your morning headlines.
Good morning.
Women rule. I'm telling you. Remember we did the story with the young lady from Bernie from Geneva School, and all the winners at the art contest and the rodeo were all young ladies?
Yeah.
Tell you what, they're taking over the world.
I told you.
Might not be a bad thing either, who knows? But let's get to this. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas is slamming Texas Governor Greg Abbott for sending migrants crossing the border illegally to sanctuary cities across the country. Abbott made the comment last week that President Biden should use more executive authority to solve the crisis. Mayorkas appeared on CNN and told Dana Bash that Abbott couldn't be more wrong.
This coming from an individual who is purposefully refusing to coordinate, communicate, collaborate with other officials and trying to wreak havoc in other cities and states across the country. That is not a model of governance, and he couldn't be more wrong.
However, Abbott has been getting a lot of credit for exposing the border crisis by sending illegal migrants to sanctuary cities. Those comments coming from Mayorkas while he is waiting to see when the Senate will take up his impeachment trial. We are a day away from Super Tuesday. Voters in 15 states are going to be going to the polls tomorrow to vote on the presidential primary. And of course, here in Texas, a lot of state and local contests. Over the weekend, former President Donald Trump won delegates from 3 states to get closer to wrapping up his nomination. His only competitor for the GOP presidential nomination, Nikki Haley, is not giving up the fight. She won her first contest last night, taking the primary in Washington, D.C. She's the first woman to win a Republican presidential primary or caucus. Now she is flip-flopping, though, on her pledge that she signed earlier in the campaign to support the GOP nominees, now likely Trump.
So you're no
Trump's
longer bound
daughter-in-law.
by that pledge?
No, I think I'll make what decision I want to make.
She was going around every show, Donald Trump, this and that. That wasn't working too well.
In the meantime, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden on the trail, promoting the power of women on the campaign trail. Here they are, while her husband, President Joe Biden, continues to prepare for his State of the Union speech coming up on Thursday in front of the entire nation. Dr. Jill Biden mentioned the power of the woman. Well, here you go. Iowa Hawkeye Caitlin Clark making history over the weekend. She hit a record-breaking free throw, and with that shot right there, boom, she is now the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, men or women. She passed up former LSU star Pistol Pete Maravich. The old record, 36-67. That record stood for 54 years.
I feel like I'm living in a dream, honestly, Holly, and hopefully I can inspire a lot of young girls to be able to dream to be on stages like this.
She's a huge inspiration to me. She's been an inspiration to me since I started watching her. She's like an idol to me, and it's so fun to watch her play. And I just want to I feel like we all want to be like her when we grow up.
So there's your inspiration right there. By the way, she finished with 35 points. Not only is a 22-year-old a huge inspiration for the young fans, but she also brought a huge amount of attention to the women's game. They are calling it the Caitlin Clark effect. For instance, the average price for a ticket to yesterday's game, $546. The average price of a ticket to a WNBA game, $49. Of course, that might change. She's announced that she's going to be heading to the WNBA next year. The Indiana Fever more than likely have the top pick. Their ticket prices have already doubled. Sportskeeda.com says that Caitlin is worth $910,000 in NIL deals. So she's already making some money. Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, Buick, Topps, just to name a few of her sponsors already. So she's already on her way to making some nice money.
Let's just call it $1 million.
Okay.
910 is
awesome.
Round up.
All right.
Yeah.
She's already going to be raking in the money and bringing in a lot of new young audiences.
Yeah.
Good
fans.
for
Yeah.
her.
Congrats.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Stepped up to the line and knocked that thing down. Knowing that, I mean.
Yeah. All that hard work.
Yep.
Paid
There you
off.
go. Pays off.
Thank you, David. 922, 70 degrees, and tell you what, we started out very warm this morning. You were the first one to talk about the humidity being back in the air.
Because, it's like, not that we forgot about it. We knew it would be back eventually, but it was kind of nice not having humidity around for a little bit.
Well, if we take humidity all the way to the extent that turns into showers.
Yeah, it's true. It'd be nice if we could take some of that humidity and convert it into something we could use pretty badly at this point, and that is rainfall. There is a small chance today, but it's not a good chance. 71 right now. We've got south-southeasterly winds at 5. There's your humidity, 84%, and we've got mostly cloudy skies. I want to show you the authority radar real quick. There's not a lot to show you. We did have a few showers out near Houston, and there is a possibility you could see some light showers across our eastern counties, and then this afternoon, 1 or 2 thunderstorms popping up. But at the moment, we got the all clear. Nothing going on rain-wise. And we do have the clouds. They're just not producing any rain. And you see we've got mostly cloudy skies. There are some breaks here and there. And I suspect you'll see these break up a little bit more. The more sun we see, the warmer it's going to be. Right now we're forecasting 80. But some places certainly could jump above that mark. 71 in New Braunfels, mostly cloudy there. 71 in Gonzales, 72 Kennedy, 69. Just changed right there in Hondo, 67 in Kerrville, and right around 70 here in San Antonio this morning. So warm and humid, and there's the high. 80. 81 Elmendorf, 79 Fair Oaks Ranch, 77 in Kerrville today. But just wait. You like the heat? Okay, we'll take you even higher tomorrow. Look at this. 88 for a high on your Tuesday. Some places will jump into the 90s. Pearsall, 90. Creosote Springs, 93 tomorrow. It's a possibility that even some spots in Bexar County could be nearing 90 degrees. So tomorrow will be warm. It'll be more of a dry heat, though. We'll have some dry air moving in from the west. As we look at the satellite picture right now, you've got some showers developing out near Houston, but again, nothing here. And as we look at the forecast, this computer model doesn't show anything developing. It's actually quite dry. This is 5 o'clock. I still think the atmosphere is set up to where if we could get a storm going, then it could be strong to severe. But there's such a cap on the atmosphere today that it's just preventing a lot from developing. This is 10 o'clock tonight. Still doesn't show anything. With that in mind, there is a severe risk today. This area outlined in yellow, and it's mainly north and east of San Antonio. So Austin, Bryan College Station, Houston, Waco, those are areas where there could be a pop-up strong storm, but it's going to be isolated. And if anything does pop up, we'll certainly let you know. Tomorrow, we start off with clouds, maybe a little bit of fog, but it's just another quiet day, partly cloudy. Thursday is when things begin to change a little bit. We get an upper level low moving in. That starts to create some showers and maybe a few storms late in the day. I think our odds of seeing storms on Thursday are a little better than today. And this continues into Friday morning as a front comes through. And there could be a few more strong storms during that time frame, Thursday night, Friday morning. We'll certainly watch it. So here are your rain chances. Monday, today, 20%, Thursday, 40%, and then Friday morning, you see the 20% there Friday, but that's going to be during the morning hours, then we'll clear out. So let's put it all together here. 88 tomorrow, 83 Wednesday, 78 Thursday, chance of storms late Thursday into early Friday, front comes through, Cools us down a little bit on Friday, but you'll more so feel it over the weekend. 69 Saturday, 70 on Sunday, mostly sunny, lows in the 40s. The weekend looks great. And hopefully we can get some storms on Thursday, get some rain. Maybe not severe weather, but some rain would be nice.
Okay.
That would be.
Thank you, Justin. Just about 9:26 on your Monday morning.
Real quick, just wanted to wish my Aunt Olga a happy 90th birthday. She is 90 years young today.
Happy birthday. That's how many cupcakes is that? I mean, it makes a giant cake, right?
Well, they were joking that they were going to put candles on it, but we were like, no, let's keep that to a minimum.
That was a great cake.
Yeah, we got to celebrate with her yesterday and with her family, her 4 children, and my mom. This is my mom's sister. And so, yes, happy 90th. We love you so much, Olga. Have a good day.
Hollywood's biggest night, just days away. This year's nominations have some high points when it comes to diversity.
According to the Academy, a third of all nominees are women, and 7 out of 20 nominees in the acting categories are Black, Latino, or Indigenous artists of color, and all of them are first-time nominees.
4 of the 10 Best Picture nominees are at least partially not in English.
And the time now is 9:30 and 71 degrees for now.
It's been a great week or so for the Spurs. RJ Marquez and David Sears join us after the break as we take a look at some game highlights from their latest win. Outside with live cam, and let's see out there, listener, looking, a few bits of sunshine out there. You know the old saying, April showers bring May flowers. We can't wait that long around here. Wildflowers are already popping, so we could say March showers would help our flowers.
Nice,
perfect. Yeah, they nailed it. Yeah, it would be good because spring has sprung in many ways. I was working out in the yard today. Just everything's starting to bloom now. We're getting into it. So let me show you this beautiful picture. There you go, out of San Antonio, the bluebonnets. Part of the landscape there, and it is beautiful. Everything is starting to bloom. Some rain would be really good. We started off the year so well, and now we've hit kind of a dry stretch yet again. We have a couple of small opportunities coming up. Hey, we're 35 days away from the total solar eclipse. Here's today's fun fact. April 8th's eclipse will rank among the top 25 of eclipses in terms of duration. In other words, if you're in that center point, or in the center point of that path, it's going to be like a 4-minute duration, and that's one of the longer eclipses when you're talking about total solar eclipses, looking back on other ones. So that, bottom line, it's a good one. You'll want to check it out. You want to be in the path of this thing on April 8th, if you can. Let's look at the forecast for today. Noontime 76, and by this afternoon we're up around 80. There is a 20% chance of a shower or storm popping up later today. It'll be few and far between. Most of us stay dry, but we got to keep an eye on it because if something does pop up, it could be on the strong side. We'll talk about our next chance of rain coming up on Thursday here in just a couple minutes. Guys.
And this comment became available in 2021. We put the financing together, moved in, and have been raising funds, designing it with our partners.
It's a housing project to support women and their children closer to becoming a reality.
That's right. Tiffany Huertas gives us a behind-the-scenes look at the progress of a new residential campus over on the west side.
The sisters were living here until March of 22, right before we moved in.
A former convent on the west side of San Antonio will look different by the end of the year.
It was in basically good shape. We just need some upgrades for, you can see some of the flooring is old and ceiling, and we need to get it up to code.
Francesca Rattray shows us around this facility that could house up to 30 women and children.
It will be a place for women to commit to a career path. They'll be able to live here for up to 4 years.
Rattray, the CEO of YWCA San Antonio, a nonprofit with a mission to eliminate racism and empower women, took us around the Women's Live and Learn Center.
The residential building will provide housing for single women ages 18 to 25, with or without children.
When finished with renovations, this is what a bedroom and common kitchen could look like.
We'll be serving women with a history in the foster care system, survivors of domestic violence, and opportunity youth who either have dropped out of high school and are looking for that next step in their lives.
Rattray says YWCA San Antonio supports about 15,000 people a year, mostly women and children, and they hope to continue offering services here.
Provide workforce training, case management, and on-site child care.
She hopes this project changes the lives of many women.
We can't wait to open the doors.
The facility is set to open in the fall. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
Tiffany says the CEO of YWCA San Antonio says the residential renovation and construction of an early childhood education center cost about $12.5 million.
Also, if you or someone you know is in a dangerous relationship, KSAT 12 has a list of resources on our website that can help. So you can find those by going to the domestic violence page on our website at ksat.com.
One other news this week, Europe for the beginning of spring 2024. Cold and flu cases are spiking a bit here in Texas, especially in the San Antonio area. Doctors at Baylor Scott & White report comparing to the fall school semester, cases of the flu have tripled in the last couple of months. Parents tell Texas health officials they've never seen their kids this sick. While flu season is typically from December to February, the CDC says flu season can vary from year to year. So far this semester, 12 school districts across the state have closed for a period of time because of all the illnesses.
Well, taking a look at the current cold and flu report for Texas from Flu Star, the San Antonio Hill Country area all the way to Corpus Christi are experiencing medium levels of cold and flu cases, the highest area in the whole state. So health officials are strongly urging those feeling sick to stay home and stay away from others.
Yeah, a lot of people sick right now. Feel better. Right now, 9:38, 71 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
Up next, RJ Marcus and David Sears are here to talk about the San Antonio Spurs' amazing win last night, plus what's next for the team. Hi again. Well, the Spurs are rolling after back-to-back home wins.
Spurs took down another playoff contender last night as the Pacers visited Frostbank Center. David and RJ are back with more.
All right, David, 2 wins in a row. Here we go.
Steph, they're up to 13.
I know.
They might get to 15. But they got 22 left?
It's not a full streak. It's just
Yeah.
a streak.
Yeah.
I'm just very happy with our San Antonio.
But they only need 2 more, and they're at 15. And that was our over
number. We talked about
that was our magic number, right?
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
But we'll show you their schedule in a second.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let's show them what we got.
But let's show you the fun stuff from last night.
Let's start with the fun.
Another game couldn't turn away from.
No, definitely not. And we start right here with this guy, Victor Wembanyama. You know, he's getting probably his first of many awards that he's going to get in his career. This was the Rookie of the Month for January, David. He got honored before tip-off there. Yeah.
He's going to need a trophy case as tall as he is.
Bigger.
Like that HEB commercial where he's just walking in with a
Let's think big
bag.
like Wemby.
Look at that shot right there.
That play, David, Blake Wesley went up and down the court with chewing on his mouth guard. That part.
There he is again. Look at that scoop, man. You can't stop that when you got an arm that's 8 foot long.
Nope, definitely
That's just amazing. It was amazing last night. Again. Now, the Spurs got up double figures for most of the game, but the Pacers were able to come back. They cut it to 1 twice.
Yeah.
It was like 102, 101, and there was another time where they got it down to 1, but then the Spurs were like, look at that. That guy's just got a sweet touch.
He does, absolutely, yeah.
Nice
So
pass.
Wemby, David, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 blocks. This was the play of the game. They were up by, was it 1 right there? They were getting the Pacers were coming back, and Wemby kind of shut the door on them, and then they finished things off here.
117, 105.
Yeah, Jeremy Sohan.
What'd you say? 31, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 blocks.
There we go.
I still say that's a quadruple waiting to happen right there. He is a quadruple waiting to happen. Those could be the categories.
Yeah.
So he could also get some steals, but I think those are the 4 categories, which would be very, very unusual.
So, David, this is the this is another historic night for Victor. I feel like we're just repeating ourselves. So he's the first rookie in NBA history to do this, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, since David Robinson and Tim Duncan. And David Robinson did it twice his rookie year. Timmy did it once. But, yeah, pretty impressive stuff. All Spurs filling out that box.
We were talking earlier, the Spurs won the championship in Tim Duncan's second year. Of course, they had David Robinson.
Yeah.
And they had Avery Johnson and Sean Elliott and a lot of guys around him. So now what we're looking at is finishing the season strong and then seeing what they could do to get some more players around Wemby.
Okay.
So they can actually get to the playoffs next year, and then hopefully NBA Finals with
There we
3.
go. You know, and David, I'm coming around to a couple of things. And first of all, Devin Vassell, I think he had the best month of his season last month, February. I think he's averaging more assists. So
you're you're agreeing that he's the second best player on the team.
He's we're getting there. I'm getting to the point where I'm getting back on the Devin bandwagon.
You gotta get on the Devin bandwagon.
Also, you called this a week ago, Victor Wembanyama Defensive Player of the Year.
I think so.
I think he should be. I mean, despite the team's record, he leads the league in blocks. He's one of the top big men in terms of steals. He's second right now in Vegas in betting odds right now to win Defensive Player of the Year.
What did we say last week since the All-Star game? This was sometime last week. He had 19 blocks himself. The next team had 18 as a team, and that was, I think, the Dallas Mavericks, and they had 18 as a team, but he had 19 by himself. So if that doesn't qualify for Defensive Player of the Year or All Defensive Team, then what does?
Yeah, he'll for sure make the all-defensive team. Right now, Rudy Gobert, actually his fellow countryman up in Minnesota, is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year right now. And, of course, the Timberwolves are first in the Western Conference, so I think the record's going to play into it. But Wemby's just been – and he just makes these guys think about it twice when they go in the lane. So I think that also adds to the appeal of Victor Wembanyama in the lane.
He's going to be the guy on the team that makes other guys around him better.
Yeah.
Maybe not this year, but starting next year, you watch. Some guys will start getting a whole lot better because of him, because he's going to be such a force inside on the defensive end, and he can play all around the perimeter. He can shoot from inside. He can slam. So there's going to be some guys that their game is going to start improving because Wembanyama is there.
And with that in mind, guys, so you were talking about draft capital. The Spurs have some good draft capital. Assuming the rebuild continues into next year, do you think the Spurs could be,
No, we're not rebuilding.
We're not rebuilding?
This is a rebuild year.
Okay.
No.
Well, will they be back in the mix before 26?
The rebuild.
Back where?
Will they be back in the mix, the playoff mix by 26?
I think they need to get into at least some playoff contention next season.
I was going to say, they better get there next year.
Yeah, I think with the way Victor's kind of progressed, I think they need to do something this offseason to get them back in the mix there.
A rookie contract is only 4 years, but the team has
the restricted free
agent for if he wants to leave. If he's not like up there challenging for the Western Conference championship and challenging to get in the finals in the next 3 years, I hate to think what might happen.
Oh man, I don't want to go through this again. We got to put up a stay Wemby stay flag and all that stuff we went through with Tim in Orlando. No way.
Let's not think about that.
Yeah, they got a good win last
time.
Yes,
thank you.
I'm thinking ahead because this year, I mean, they might get 15, 16 wins, but I'm thinking ahead, man. You watch this kid, you're excited about it. What's going on? So, okay, so tomorrow night, what do we got? Tomorrow night, it's the Rockets in Houston. Ooh, that may be 14 wins right there because the Rockets aren't so good. And then it's the Kings, Warriors, and then it's the Warriors back home. What the Warriors were down 105 to Lakers the other day. What was that?
The Celtics. They lost
the Celtics.
50 points yesterday.
Yeah, it's like, man, that was a great game. What happens to the Warriors? And they just signed Steve Kerr to a new contract too, like $30 million or something.
They benched Curry was sitting this one out.
No, I was talking about Steve Kerr. The Warriors had Steve Kerr signed some huge contract, and his team can't even score 20 points in a game. What is that about? So so then it's Spurs, then it's Nuggets, Nets. Man, they got a tough schedule coming up. So all right, so we're at 13.
All right.
We're looking
on our way to the Magic 1-5. All right, guys, thank you.
Let's 1-5, 15. Let's go out there with Zoo Cam, Flamingo Cam this morning, and some of the flamingos are out of the water.
Look at the two are walking right up towards the camera right now.
Hello there.
Hello. Good morning.
There's three.
Oh, there's three. One was killed.
One was hiding back there.
That's called a stealth flamingo.
Stealth flamingo. Yeah. It's a great day to go to the zoo, even though it is humid out there.
A little bit. I like that. Okay, let's talk about the wildfire situation we got going up in the Texas Panhandle. It's still there. It's still an issue. This is the Smokehouse Creek fire. So we've got it outlined here, which is pretty incredible. You see the size. It's 1.1 million acres. Only 15% contained. Obviously, it is now the largest wildfire in Texas history. The Windy Deuce Fire and Grapevine Creek Fire, smaller, but still significant. And these are starting to get under control, but it's this one that is still pretty concerning. I mean, I think they probably are starting to get some containment on it, but it's going to take a lot more time. Now, this is what's interesting. Sarah Spivey put this together yesterday, but it's a comparison of how big this fire is to San Antonio. And look at this. Look at the size. So that fire would basically take up almost all of Bexar County if it were where we are. It just gives you some perspective there on the just massive, massive size of this fire and how dangerous it is there. All right, let's go outside for you. And right now we've got mostly cloudy skies, but temperatures are up to 72, 73 in New Braunfels, 71 Seguin. You see the high humidity levels. It is definitely humid out there. In our forecast today, 76 noontime. We'll make it up to about 80 or so. We'll keep it mostly cloudy, but there is a 20% chance of a stray storm this afternoon. Don't get your hopes up. Most of us are not going to see anything. And if you do, it's going to be brief. I think the best odds for seeing a storm are going to be San Antonio and points east. So let's look at the dew points here. They're high today. They come down a little bit tomorrow, and that's going to contribute to some warm temperatures. And then they start to build again Thursday. That's our next chance of rain, and then they fall off behind a front as we head into the weekend. So the satellite picture right now shows the mostly cloudy skies, and there's some breaks here and there, and these will break up a little bit more, the clouds, as we head into the afternoon hours. There are some showers out towards Houston. We've got a little piece of energy coming in with subtropical jet here. It's over parts of Mexico. This is not a strong system, but it's enough, perhaps, to get a storm or two going this afternoon. The problem we're running into, and you've heard us talk about this before, is there is a cap on the atmosphere. So if it's a little too warm up above in the atmosphere, it's like a lid. It keeps anything from developing, and I think we're going to deal with that today. This is the forecast as we get into, say, 5 o'clock, and this model doesn't show anything at all. As we get into tonight, it shows a storm up there, one or two popping up, but I just think our odds aren't so great today. It's not to say we couldn't see a storm, but as I said, the risk for severe weather is generally off to our north and east, Austin, Waco, Bryant College Station, Houston. We'll keep an eye on it. Again, a 20% chance. And then as we get into tomorrow, not much there. I think tomorrow's pretty quiet. And then Wednesday, I should say, Tuesday and Wednesday are pretty quiet. Then as we get into Thursday, that's when things start to pick up again. And we'll see that chance of showers and storms coming back into play. And I think we could see a couple strong storms on Thursday. So that'll be something to watch. 88 tomorrow, mostly sunny. 83 on Wednesday. So a couple quiet days there. And then we bring back the rain chances Thursday into Friday morning. A front comes through, dries us out Friday. And the weekend looks really good. We'll be up around 70, lows in the 40s. Unfortunately, though, we do spring forward.
Oh, yes. Well, at least the nice weather will help us get through that.
Helps a little bit.
Thank you, Justin.
9:52, 72 degrees.
We'll be right back.
All right, we're climbing up to the 70s. It's going to be a warm, humid day, up around 80 today. There is a small outside chance for a storm today, but most of us are going to stay dry. Very warm tomorrow, 88. 83 Wednesday. There is a better chance of some showers and storms Thursday night to Friday morning. We'll watch for a couple strong storms during that time frame. Otherwise, it cools down a little bit for the weekend. The weekend looks really nice. Of course, that's the lead off into spring break. A lot of people are asking, what does spring break look like?
Well, at least the first part of it will look good.
Right now, it looks pretty good.
All right. Good news for all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day.